I'm Sarah Jane, an Australian artist and the current resident of 159 Wattle Street in Malvern. A beautiful sandstone return veranda villa that fronts historic Wattle Street and rests on the edge of the well-known Doothie Street precinct. As an artist, I bring energy, warmth and love to a space. So in 2004, I took on the challenge of 159 Wattle Street, and I made it my mission to bring back love to the walls of this home with an update. Up late at night, creating drawing after drawing, my new vision was underway in 2007, beginning with changes to the original home and then a contemporary open plan addition out the back. The original part of the home, that was built in 1910, had a main central hallway and generous sized rooms branching off. With each room having traditional fireplaces and large sash windows, the bones of the original section was already quite solid, only requiring cosmetic changes. Creating a new canvas for a new story, though, meant demolishing the 80s lean-to, paving a passage of connection between original and new. Here in the new space, I was able to have design freedom and put my own stamp with my own story. But it was interesting times too. Living without any heating or cooling, having only basics for a while, often made me think of those past souls that lived here. By the end of 2012, the house had become the open, designer space full of warmth and personality that I had envisaged. With the new breath of life, it was time for a new destiny. With the physical change of the home to a modern world, also came a change of direction in my own life. I had realised a creative inside me, and by 2016, a new expression was forming. Trusting my creative side, I listened to outside supporters and began contemporary painting, and have now sold all over Australia and to the US and UK under my banner, Sarah Jane. Initially using the space as a studio to paint from, my home now mimics an art gallery. With each room full of my art having its own expression, the energy of the house constantly changes as the paintings come and go, creating a revolving story. My work carries simplicity with a design edge and tells a story that I hope connects with the right person. But what I want to focus on right now is a series titled Body Bloom. This series covers female empowerment and the importance to be oneself and bloom. This level of independence resonates in my own life, but also progresses me onto the lives of women who stood within these walls back in time. One thing I do know is sometimes you don't pick a house, it picks you. And with 159 Wattle Street, there is a strong level of forefront thinking and independence. In particular, as I wind back the clock, I find one Edith Grace Wheatley Charlick. Grace's first experience with Wattle Street was growing up in the family home. She lived there with her parents, Mary Ann Wheatley, and her father, William Charles Taylor. They likely knew the old orchard and jam factory at 88 Wattle Street. This 29-acre orchard had golden wattles and is how the street got its name. Grace also had 7 siblings, each carrying her mother's maiden name in their own names. With both her younger sisters passing away aged 5, both trauma and joy followed her life. In 1908, Grace married Gordon William Charlick. The Charlicks were a well-known family in Adelaide, establishing the flour mills in Mile End. In 1911, at the age of 26, Grace bought 159 Wattle Street for £750. Being registered on the property with the term for her separate use allowed Grace to own the property outright, giving her husband no legal claim to the property. Prior to the Married Women's Property Act 1882, married women had no separate legal existence, meaning that men were entitled to take the profits from property. But not only did Grace buy a house in 1911, there was more big news with the birth of her daughter, Josephine Gordon Charlick. But we do know Grace had a son, born 10 years after Josephine, Dean Gordon Charlick. As the kids grew up in Wattle Street, they no doubt had to catch a tram. The Kingswood line it was known as, going down Doothie and George Streets. Grace sold 159 Wattle Street in 1935 to Elsie Hilda Myrtle Gray. Elsie, a hairdresser, seemed to buck the trends of the day, showing an independence beyond her time and remaining a spinster for life. With Grace moving across the road to 164 Wattle Street in 1935, life seemed well. With her daughter Josephine marrying in 1939 and providing grandkids, life was looking good. But tragedy would again strike Grace, with the death of her son Dean in World War II, aged only 23. Grace passed away just 8 years later. May we remember the forgotten everyday women that have paved the way for generations today. I have managed to contact the descendants of Grace and Josephine, But sadly, there are no photos or stories available on the lives of these women. A sad reminder of a past generation's approach to equality, and to how important it is to document the lives of everyone for future generations.